So are we going to keep more to the supernatural, or are we going to go back to the grounded reality of this series? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with more Batman Caped Crusader. This is episode 7. And yeah, last time we had the Gentleman Ghost, we had actual supernatural paranormal shit going on, and Bruce kind of learning to become, a lot nicer towards Alfred. It was a really interesting episode that delved into a kind of reverse Robin Hood villain with him, only going after the poor and giving to himself. It's like, Jesus, all right. um, and now, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. As always, we've only got a handful of episodes left, less than a handful of episodes left. We're getting near the end. And I'm definitely curious to see what they do. I still think they're going to bring Harley back, probably for just one last hurrah. Because I still would be really surprised if they just didn't use her again. There's too much potential there. We're clearly still building up with Harvey. He's now kind of agreed to work with Rupert Thorne out of desperation for his campaign. It's like, yeah, we're starting to get kind of vibes at where this is headed. In fact, I'm thinking like Two-Face might end up being the final big villain of this season. With, of course, setups for season 2, which is already in production, according to Renee Montoya's actress. We got a lot of things set up, and I'm very interested to see how much is capitalized in these last few episodes of the season, and how much is still going to be touched on in season 2. But I guess there's no better way to find out than to watch. See what kind of villain we get this time, see how grounded or fantastical it ends up becoming. I'm very curious. So let us get into this and see what we have in store for this episode. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but I upload them on the weekend. And don't forget all the gaming content we have both on this channel and the secondary Princess of Gaming channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day and Baldur's Gate 3 every single day on this channel, while we also have Nier Automata every Saturday on the other. And don't forget to click the link down in the description below to get to today's reaction. I redirected just due to copyright reasons. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get on to the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, Onomatopoeia is a Batman and Green Arrow villain who first appeared in 2002 and was created by Kevin Smith. You know who Kevin Smith is. That Kevin Smith. And yeah, apparently in the comics, Onomatopoeia is basically as depicted here. Uses the sound effects and everything, which hence the name Onomatopoeia, but also is kind of just like, a hitman kind of villain, no superpowers or anything. And apparently in the comics, the identity of Onomatopoeia is never known. So that's really interesting too. This is a villain I just do not know. I have no idea who this villain is. I have never heard of him before. But for a series that's pretty grounded and serious, it's like this was the silliest enemy, which is wild because we have Harley Quinn in this series, but this is the silliest enemy we've had in this. And don't get me wrong, like, he is a threat for obvious reasons. But still. Also, he wasn't technically the main villain. The main villain was the guy in prison. Um, but yeah. Onomatopoeia is the more is the one people are going to remember from this, let's be honest. So this episode was more focused on Barbara, the cops, and everything. That entire side of things. Again, this is, I think, our second episode now that we've had with that kind of focus, that kind of like, um, not really like, not really ignoring Batman because he's a major part of this still, but it's definitely more focused on these other characters and how kind of the crime network within Gotham and everything works with it, and how um society in this city is, and how it's influencing the villains that we've seen. We even have this like um argument between Gordon and Barbara about whether or not crime and these criminals are, you know, to be seen in black and white, or if they're more nuanced. Barbara, at least at the beginning, believes that these criminals deserve to at least be heard out. That there's more nuance to the reasoning for their actions. While Gordon is more like, no, sometimes people were just bad. And that if they commit crimes, they should be punished accordingly. The thing is, like, realistically, they're both right. And these are not opposing ideals. Here's the thing. If you commit a crime, you should receive just punishment for that crime, given the circumstances behind it and everything. Like, if you kill someone in self-defense, that's obviously not the same thing as killing someone by just, you know, premeditated murder. There's obviously circumstances that do need to be taken into account. But you should be punished for a crime that you commit, to some degree. The like, self-defense is really the only kind of situation where you could reasonably get out of punishment, because it's literally like you're just defending yourself or others from dying by striking first. Which, it's like, yeah, that's a little reasonable. But it's like, if you even so much as like shoplift and stuff, and speaking as someone who had done that when I was younger, you should get punished to some degree. Obviously, if you're like a dumb kid and you haven't like done it a lot or anything, like a slap on the wrist, it's fine. Being like banned from the store or something, sure. Nothing like major, but like if you're like a big time thief stealing like big time big ticket items, that's another story than just like some kid stealing like a pack of trading cards. Like, you do have to take stuff into account. That's why I'm saying both sides are correct. While there should be adequate punishment, you do still have to take some things into account, some things into attention. And I know this isn't like talking about like silly little things like that. This is more in regards to like, oh, how has society shaped this person? Could this person do better if they received counseling rather than imprisonment? This is more talking about this kind of stuff rather than like the circumstances of like, oh, they stole like a pack of gum compared to stealing like $1,000 computer. So it's like, it's a very different kind of argument being given here. But at the end, we see that even though, again, she is at least partially in the right, Barbara is starting to have her views shaken. Because this guy who she fought to get because of his circumstances, because his crime wasn't that comparatively bad, she fought to get him the best deal she could, and the best thing she could do was his imprisonment here at Blackgate. And unfortunately, he didn't see it that way, and he ordered the hit on her, which we thought was on her father, but, you know. He ordered the hit on her, and wildly enough, it kind of proved that he did deserve to be there. It kind of proved that, the punishment was just after all, even if it wasn't the right punishment for the crime necessarily committed. Though we don't really know what that crime was, I don't think. Unless I just missed it somehow, which is possible. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to talk about regarding the justice system within this episode and how criminals are punished, why they're punished, what they're punished for, etc. You could talk for hours on this kind of subject. We're not going to do so here because that's just, too long. But like I said, the part that everybody's going to remember about this episode is onomatopoeia. Because you have like this hitman come into play, 5-10 minutes into the episode. We never see his face, but he pulls this mask with like this bullseye on it, this black mask with a white bullseye over his face. And the very first things he says are dun dun dun. It's like, that is the silliest fucking introduction of a villain possible. It's like this, don't get me wrong, he's a actual threat. He has his whole crew. They're a genuine threat in regards to their marksmanship and whatnot. He's a threat, but he's so goddamn silly. Why does he do this? Is there a reason why he does the onomatopoeia sound effects thing? Why does he do that? Why? It is so silly for a very serious show, and honestly a very serious episode otherwise. Like, him going around, like, basically vocalizing the 60s Batman pow, bang, pop-up art and everything. It's so goddamn silly. It's so silly. Like, I had to keep myself from bursting out laughing every time he did it. It's like, what the fuck? It's such a weird choice for a villain. Like, again, like, in terms of just what he does, like, again, as a hitman and stuff, it's like, fine, that works, but why of all the DC characters to choose did you go with him? Like, you literally had a more serious one mentioned in here and actually shown. We saw Floyd Lawton. We saw Deadshot. Fucking Deadshot. And instead, he's relegated to this guy who just tries to seemingly kill Gordon outside of the courthouse or whatnot at the beginning of the episode. He's like, in one shot, he doesn't actually do anything but point a gun. He gets shot himself. It's like, what? You relegate Deadshot to that kind of role in this episode and make fucking onomatopoeia the actual hitman. What is this episode? That has to have been done on purpose for the shits and giggles of it. To make such a silly villain the main threat, while someone like fucking Deadshot is taken out that quickly and easily and early. That has to be intentional. They're fucking with us. They're fucking with us. There's no other explanation. That's so fucking silly and ridiculous. But at the same time, it's kind of brilliant with the fact of how silly it is. It's so fucking silly, so fucking ridiculous, so fucking stupid that I kind of respect the hell out of it. I kind of respect that they went out of their way to make Deadshot one of the most notable gun users in DC Comics, who is an expert marksman. His entire thing is never missing his shot. Who is one of Knew that was about to happen. Mail delivery. Who is one of the biggest threats without having any kind of superpowers or abilities. Just a normal guy with guns. One of the biggest threats. You relegate that character to a random side role. While you have this, what is practically a joke character. You make that character the actual threat of the episode. That's kind of brilliant. It's not even just subverting expectation. It's basically saying we're going to do the opposite of everything you expect, and you are going to sit here and like it. And it's like, I'm just like bringing up my bowl saying, please, sir, may I have another? It's just like, this is the shit that is so stupid, it works in every conceivable way. It is so dumb, it is so ridiculous, it is so against what everything you would think of. That is exactly why it works. Also, I knew that one of them had to be a spy, one of them had to be a mole. It's like, that was very obvious. And he was really the only one it could have been, unless the guy that got shot, unless he, like, got shot on purpose, or maybe was willing to get shot still just to achieve the goal or something. I don't know. It could have been possible, but the other guy, whatever his name was, he made the most sense. So yeah, that just tracked for me. What a weird episode. Such a serious episode with such a randomly silly inclusion. I would have never thought to do that, but hey, all the credit to where it's due here. That was such a unexpectedly brilliant decision. But tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Batman Caped Crusader. Is there anything I forgot to talk about that you want to hear my thoughts on? Please leave that below. Leave below all your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, I read every comment, so I'll get to it if there's something I need to mention or something I need to respond to. So yeah. That being said, thank you so much as always for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.